These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, it's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so, with tears in my eyes. Oh, I hate to go. There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes. The bills need paying, so I must go.
These rocky shores, where I call home, where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. With tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand.
That is these rocky shores, where I call home, it's where my heart longs to be. Whenever I roam, yes, these rocky shores, where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Good evening. Welcome to 1997, the year in review. For the next 2 weeks, we'll be looking back at some of the happenings around our community over the past year. We'll begin our look back at the past 12 months after this.
Reading, writing, arithmetic, and choice. The longer girls stay in school, the better the choices they will have for their lives. Choices about jobs, about when to get married, and when to have children. Choices their mothers never had. USC Canada works with partners in Bangladesh to make education a right, not a privilege for girls. Support USC Canada, 56 Sparks Street, Ottawa.
Before we begin our look back at the past 12 months, we have a few news stories that occurred recently. The Burgeo innovators were busy last Friday evening wrapping children's toys for Christmas. The toys were donated by the Salvation Army to be given to less fortunate families here in Burgeo this Christmas. Where did all the gifts come from that you have here?
This was all donated to us by the Salvation Army, Major Collins in Steenville.
Okay, so what are you going to be doing with all these toys?
We'll be going to give it towards all the children with ones with the turkey dinners.
Okay, so how did you do this year with the food bank?
Well, we never done as good as we done the last 2 or 3 years, but something's better than nothing.
So will you be giving out turkey dinners again this year? I know last year you were doing up a number of turkey dinners to give out.
Yes, we're going to give out turkeys this year instead of just the turkey dinner, so that we want to make sure that everybody's got something.
Okay, so where do you get the names from?
We usually get the names from the social welfare and people with one-income families. Yes, Dave, and there's one thing we'd definitely like to add on is to thank the Salvation Army for their very generous donations of the gifts and the turkey, and for the people of Burjo for the food bank. And we'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And in May, when the Red Shield appeal comes along, please give generously. Thank you. That's good.
Santa visited the Calder Healthcare Center last Saturday for the resident Christmas party. Santa was in town on Tips Eve for one final visit before his Christmas Eve run. He was at the fire hall in the morning as the Burgeo volunteer firefighters hosted Breakfast with Santa. Members of the Burgeo Volunteer Fire Department were busy on Tuesday morning. Some were taking orders, others were preparing breakfasts, while others were doing dishes. While the firefighters were busy preparing meals, Santa was busy mingling with the crowd. Now for a look at what's been happening around our community over the past 12 months. Early in 1997, BBS donated old video equipment to a newly formed community channel in Lourdes. Burgeo Broadcasting System helped out a group from the Port Peninsula in their efforts to set up a community cable channel in their community. Lourdes on the Port Peninsula had only had brief dealings with community television through community television forums put off by West Viking College. That was until they teamed up as part of Communication for Survival. Since their exposure to television through the Communication for Survival process, a group from the community has taken it upon themselves to set up a local community channel. They have been operating out of the school cafeteria for a few months now, using borrowed equipment to hold TV bingos in an effort to raise money to purchase equipment of their own. About 3 years ago, BBS upgraded our studio cameras, and the old equipment has been sitting in the attic since then. At the BBS Board of Directors meeting in December, it was decided that the company would help out the committee in Lourdes by donating this equipment to the community. Although this equipment is no longer suited to the needs here at BBS, for Lourdes, where they had no television equipment of their own, it helped get the community programming off to a great start.
We appreciate the equipment we got here today from Burgeo, and anything we can do for them in the future, just to get in contact with us. We'd be glad to help them any way we can. So once again, thanks for the equipment, and
thanks Dave for helping.
And thanks Dave for coming up, showing us what to do, and we hope that in the future we'll be down there and thank them in person.
Students from St. John Central High put on quite a show at the Kmart Plaza in Corner Brook as they placed first, second, and third in a popsicle stick bridge competition for Western Newfoundland. 12 grade 7 students from St. John Central High School traveled to Corner Brook last Saturday to compete in a popsicle stick bridge competition. The students have been busy for several weeks now constructing bridges out of popsicle sticks and white school glue. The competition took the pounds per square inch that the bridge could withstand and divided it by the total weight of the bridge. The construction of the bridge was also taken into consideration. Of the 10 entries at the West Coast competition, which was held at the Corner Brook Plaza, 5 of the entries came from St. John Central High School here in Burgeo.
Okay, she's moving up to 150. 150, she's 200, she's 250, she's 300, she's 350. 400, 450, 450. Keep her going, 500. 550. 575. 575.
Third place place went to St. John Central, and it was Crystal Lee Hand, Melissa Ingram, and Melanie Durnford.
Hey, hold on, you gotta get all in a group there. Prizes, okay.
And second place was St. John Central, Julia Benoit.
Move in a bit there.
Okay, and the winner for the West Coast chapter from St. John Central is Joey Strickland. Congratulations. Okay, there you are.
Hold out your bridge, Joe. Motorists using the Burgeo Highway had to do without the mobile phone service due to the building on Rocky Ridges blowing up earlier this spring. Mobile telephones have been useless on Route 480 for the past few months following an explosion at the Rocky Ridge mobile phone site. This is the largest visible piece of the building that housed the radio equipment at Rocky Ridge. Pieces of the old building can be seen sticking out of the snow all around the site. A diesel generator and fuel tank were transported to the site on Tuesday of this past week. When I visited the site on Wednesday, workers were trying to level the building in anticipation of the radio building scheduled to arrive the following afternoon. Technicians are scheduled to begin work on restoring the telephone services tomorrow. Stay with us for more of 1997, the year in review, coming up after this.
Cliff Chatterton of the War Ants. I've known Megan since she was 3. This is your new swimming arm. This is the sport hand that goes with it, okay? She was enrolled in Champ after a terrible car crash cost her an arm. Show kids you care. Be a part of the War Amps Drive Safe campaign.
Drive safe.
Much Music held their annual Snow Job outdoor concert at Marble Mountain this year, and we were there. Saturday was a busy day at Marble Mountain as close to 10,000 people gathered for Much Music's Snow Job 97. The lineup started more than 3 hours before the gates opened for Much Music's biggest snow job ever. Kicking off the concert was Newfoundland's own Great Big Sea. followed by I, Mother Earth, and wrapping things up was Collective Soul. Together, they entertained fans at Marble Mountain for close to 5 hours. Other media, including BBS, were not permitted to do any filming during the concert, but we will be supplied with concert footage courtesy of Much Music. The Burgeo Burnett's hosted a telethon in November of 1996 to raise funds to purchase a Jaws of Life for the local fire department. The Burgeo volunteer firefighters took possession of the Jaws of Life in March of this year. On November 24th, the Burgeo Burnett's were left in awe as a telethon to raise $16,000 to purchase the basic Jaws of Life for the Burgeo Volunteer Fire Department realized $31,000. On Monday night, the Burnett's got to see what they raised these funds for. During a meeting of the firefighters and Burnett's on Monday, Cynthia Green and Laura Han presented the Jaws of Life to Fire Chief Glenn Han.
Okay, Fire Chief Glenn Farland, on behalf of Burnett's, I would like to present the fire department with the Jaws of Life.
Okay, ladies, on behalf of the fire department, on behalf of the fire department, I would like to personally thank you for a worthwhile job. And hopefully we'll never outuse it, but like I said before, it's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. Smile, wait. Okay? You're on camera. So, Mike, if you would, you'd like to have a few words to speak to the women now, just explain a few of the operations of our equipment. These will have a few words now. Okay.
I don't know if you know much about what you purchased. I want to give you an idea. Because it seems like most women in every fire department are hell-bent on making sure the firemen got up-to-date equipment. And right now, you are up to date. This here is a cutter, which is a part of the Jaws of Life. This cutter here has the capabilities of running 66,000 pounds of force. In other words, you can cut basically anything that they imagine they want to cut on the vehicle. If the victim was trapped under the steering wheel or the whole front column of the car totally collapsed on it, you use this unit here and push the dash back on the victim. This is called a ramp. Pushing force about 14 pounds or 28,000 pounds. This is a spreader. This one takes the doors off the cars. The spreader here again has the capability of about 10 to 12 pounds of force. So there's no car door made that this will back off. This is the hydraulic pump that drives the system. Okay? These here can be switched out in another second. And put these hooks on here. And now we can open the jaws and put chains and haul stuff, steering columns off of people and everything else. So this is the type of equipment your men are getting into. And they're getting into the most up-to-date equipment that's on the market today. This pump here is actually one of the very few pumps there. Newest pumps there are. My pump that I've had 3 times the size of this. So it's the type of technology we're doing that. This here is for when your husband won't go home from the car. Stick it in your back and he won't complain that there's a problem. Hydraulic hoses power this equipment. And most accidents don't happen in the daytime. 65% of all accidents at nighttime. They have lighting, so that's why you see these type of lights, the tripod lights, which are powered by generators, so you want it. These lights here are not charged up, so I don't know how they're working now, not charged up. These lights here run for 8 hours continuous. Time to switch them on and take them off. So the most important thing that any scene is lighting. There's airlifting bags. This bag here is about 32 tons. This one bag here can pick your bar truck up, you turn around and bar station. This one little bag here. Someone's trapped under a boat. They'll be proving the boat or they'll be working their own boat. The boat will fall over. 5-ton load with tractors. Just to give an example, what am I on? Great. This bag here is only an inch thick, and it's deflated. That's all the room they need to get in, and then they can let it. I think it's 18 inches, is it that? On the 30 top? 30-25 inches of lifting force. So the equipment that you see here in front of you today, basically the lifting and the cutting power here, we're into the tens of thousands of pounds of force that they can generate now, which the equipment generators. So ladies, you have done a tremendous job. I think you should really commend your own selves for what you've done. I think the Forest Service here deservedly are much more than appreciative of what you've done for them, because they are in a new league starting tomorrow morning. They have the best equipment on the market today, and now we are one of only 60 departments on the island that are even fitted with this equipment. So they are in the elite as of now. Any questions? You can ask me anything here that you don't know what it's about. Other than that, I'm going to start training you guys in about 5 minutes, so you get a chance to look around and see what's all about. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
The following day, members of the Burgeo Volunteer Fire Department did hands-on training with the jaws of life. They were shown how to use the various tools and set up scenarios using old car wrecks.
You're all hooked up? When we're breaking glass, there's none of the ways to break glass. You can break it with a spring-loaded center punch, you can break it with a window opener, you can break it with a holding bar, you can break it with a fire axe. We do not go down through the center of glass because you have no control over where this thing is going, and I'll show you why. I don't have no control. It went on through. So when we break glass, now can't go anywhere. You bring me up on the side. Same here. You don't hit in the center, you hit the side. You break here, you don't hit here, you hit there. Another way to access the door. Let's broaden them out to open this up, okay? Another way to get the door to come around when you want it.
The Caribou Trail was closed for several days in April as a heavy snowfall blocked several sections, leaving motorists stranded. High winds, drifting, and snow, lots of snow, caused Route 480, the Caribou Trail, to be closed from Tuesday till Friday. The road closed signs went up Tuesday evening because of blizzard conditions on the highway. Many motorists were detained for hours because of the storm, while others spent Tuesday night in their vehicles. When I went in on Friday morning to see how much snow had accumulated, I met 4 members of the Burgeo Volunteer Search and Rescue Team who traveled through the blizzard the evening before to take provisions to approximately 40 people stranded in Peter Strides area. When the Department of Transportation workers, along with a worker from the town of Burgeo, went to work on Friday morning, this is what awaited them even before they reached Steelbrook. I caught up with the council dresser and the Department of Highways tractor in the Steelbrook area. When I checked back later Friday afternoon, crews on this inn were in the Beaver Pond area working. Workers on both ends worked from early Friday morning right through till they met 8:30 Friday evening, plowing through snowdrift after snowdrift. Flags around Burgeo were flying half-mast, and the Anglican Church was blocked in April as the Chamber of Commerce hosted a Save Our Community vigil. Well over 1,000 area residents came out on Thursday to participate in the Save Our Community vigil organized by the Burgeo Chamber of Commerce. Since the sea freeze plant here in Burgeo closed its doors in April of 1992, our community has undergone countless changes, many of which were not for the betterment of our community. Prior to 1992, finding a vacant home in Burgeo was next to impossible. These days, they're a dime a dozen. The number of vacant homes is steadily increasing as our population continues to dwindle.
In this area,
As Dr. Sarah Roxon explains, it's not just the economy that's suffering because of the closure of the fishery.
The closure of the fish plant. And we experience lots of stress-related conditions. It came in waves when the news broke and they found that it will become a reality. We had a huge number of patients visiting us with different problems and concerns, and it was difficult for them to deal with the question. It was very difficult for them to face this insecurity. They did not know for how long it will last and how they will be able to cope with it. Yes, we had many, many patients.
Flags were flying at half-mast on Thursday as the Chamber of Commerce vigil brought together people from all sectors of our community. St. John the Evangelist Church was filled to the rafters, with as many or more people waiting outside the church to throw their support behind the local Chamber of Commerce. Those gathered inside the church were led in prayer by Reverends Byron Barter and Marilyn Avery.
Therefore, today we come before you as a people of hope, praising your name and relying upon your promise to be faithful to us in our need. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
O God, our Heavenly Father, giver of all good things, we thank you that you have created us and preserved us to this day. You know our needs and our fears at this time because of our lack of work. We ask that you comfort and strengthen us through our distress and anxiety, and give us hope and courage to continue our support for one another. It is clear from your word that work is normal and good for all people, yet we have not found what we need and seek. Lord, we need help.
Following the prayers, everyone assembled outside the church where they were greeted by Mayor Blaine Marks and Seafreeze employee Norm Strickland.
I think the crowd here today shows that we are all willing and we all want to go back to work, and I think that's the message we want to send to the government. And I think by their absence today probably is a bit of a message, and I think within the next couple of weeks when the election is announced and Mr. Simmons comes around, maybe we won't remember him on election day either, if they're going to be ignoring us like that. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for organizing this today. And as I said, we're here. We want to go to work. We have the infrastructure. We have the company that's willing to open the plant. We have a contract signed and everybody willing to go back to work. All we need from the government is a commitment to give us some fish so we can go back to work. And if this is their idea of another resettlement, we're going to tell them we're staying, fish or no fish. Although we never got rich on the fishery, we were happy and we were survived. Some of the Burgeo's young people choose to leave after leaving school. while others choose to stay and build Burgeo into what it has become today. But I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, they had an option, a choice to stay or to go. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are forced to leave our homes by the federal government. We have no choice. Remember the 60s and the 70s? Most of us here today are a result of Joey Small's resettlement. When Joey Small would sit to the poor people, fill up their boats, burn your stages and wharves, and resettle to other towns. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being forced to resettle again.
After the speeches, everyone proceeded to hold hands and proceed around our community. Then a human chain was formed around the circle near the hospital to show that residents of Burgeo are not individuals, but a family determined to stick together, a community determined to survive. Reverend Barter, what did you think of the turnout for the vigil today?
It was a marvellous turnout. Very impressed at the beginning especially. I know our church service, the turnout couldn't be any better. I think it was a really good event.
So do you think that the vigil will get the message out?
I think it was a marvellous way. Actually, we had quite a few people coming through town today heading for another event, and they're very impressed with the way that we're going about things here in Burgeo, a different approach, and very impressed indeed.
Union spokesperson Eileen Strickland says the union fully supports the efforts of the local Chamber of Commerce.
Dave, the union was 100% behind the Chamber of Commerce and what they were trying to do. It's time that this town all pulled together and show everybody we must have an industry.
Okay, so what do you feel is the next step?
Well, this was the easy step. The next step, if we don't get some fish and we don't get an industry, before we let this town go, a typhoon in China will be mild compared to what's going to happen.
So I understand that you've got meetings coming up with Mr. Barry now in the upcoming week. So what do you hope to learn at these meetings?
Well, actually, Dave, in the meeting, we're open that everybody will put their plan on the table and say just exactly what they got in mind for Burgeo, because it's time the Burgeo people was told that we're either going to have a industry or let the people know they don't have a chance. One thing or the other, and it's time.
Chamber President Elaine Swift says they will be supporting the union at Wednesday's meeting.
Well, we're attending a meeting in Cornerbrook next week, and we'll be backing up the union 100%. We're going to definitely try to get this plan open.
Archbishop Stuart Payne was in Burgeo on Thursday, but unable to stay for the vigil. Archbishop Payne had this message.
But I felt that I couldn't just pass through the community and go on to Ramir without identifying what the people are doing today, and to pledge my support to them, for them, with them. My message is that they're doing a good thing. They have to. I think people have to, and I really appreciate the way in which they're doing it. It's not a noisy, rough kind of demonstration or show of anger, in a sense, but rather a show of deep concern and solidarity one with another for the future of their community. And my message is we're with you in that. We're with you in that, and I really appreciate the kind of stand they're taking. A quiet demonstration, a day of mourning, rather than a more belligerent kind of session.
What will eventually happen remains to be seen, but as long as our chain remains unbroken, our community will survive. It has to. I had the opportunity over the past year to get a few updates from Mr. Barry of Seafreeze on the company's plans for the local fish plant. The first update was in May. On Wednesday, I traveled to Cornerbrook, where a meeting was taking place regarding the future of Seafreeze here in Burgeo. Here's what I got from that meeting. I'm here outside the Holiday Inn in Corner Brook, where earlier today local union executive representatives as well as representatives from the Burgeo Town Council met with Bill Barry and other Seafreeze officials, as well as our MP Roger Simmons and representatives from the FFAW. Also present at the meeting were representatives from the Burgeo Chamber of Commerce and the Burgeo IAS Committee. The meeting got underway at 1 p.m. and was scheduled to end at 3. Because of the unexpected road closure, most Burgeo representatives, with the exception of Gord Tucker and Eileen Strickland, did not arrive until 10 to 3. BBS was not permitted to attend the meeting, but we were invited in for this statement by MP Roger Simmons, Seafreeze owner Bill Barry, and FFAW representative Red Yancey.
First of all, let me say that we've had an excellent 3 or 3.5 hours here in Corner Brook with representatives of Burgeo, with the representatives of the union, and with Mr. Bill Barry and his associates from Seafreeze. We've had a good, productive meeting on the issue of the future of the plant. I echo the comments that we just heard around the table in the last few minutes from people from Burgeo, that I think this is a good beginning, a new beginning for us, and I'm rather excited about what we've been able to achieve here today. I won't get specific, except we've affirmed today what we've always believed, that the Burgeo plant does have a future. And I'm going to ask Mr. Bill Barry, the president of Seafreeze, if he'll indicate to you, the community of Burgeo, the kinds of things he's indicated to us as a result of our discussions here today. Bill Barry.
Roger summarized it fairly well, in the sense that we had a very productive meeting, and I think the challenges that are before us are much clearer now, and we've certainly agreed to work together in as narrow a time frame as possible to achieve certain results in Burgeo. And the first thing is to get the plant reactivated and operational. And we have some other plans down the road which we've discussed internally, which you'll all find out, I guess, at a later date. But in terms of our immediate plans, within a week from this Monday, we're going to begin the process where we start to activate some of the facilities in Burgeo to renew the operation. And hopefully every week or every month thereafter, there will be a little bit more good news come as our whole program unfolds, which we've discussed with your MP, Mr. Simmons, and also with Red Yancey of the FFAW. So I think we had a very good meeting, and I think the community of Burgeo will see the positive results of this meeting, not only in the weeks ahead, but during the next month, 6 months, and the next year. I think we've got a good plan. We've got a good action plan that we're going to initiate, and we hope to be very successful on all the fronts that we're attacking.
Thanks very much, Bill. We've had a very good session here today, and one of the key players in it today has been Red Yancey. I'll have him speak in a moment. Just let me say something else first. We had intended to have a couple of other people with us here today. Weather this morning prevented that. And so Max Short from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, who's been key to this whole thing too, as well as Carl Sullivan from Seafreeze and Rosalind Walsh from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, they were on the phone with us, on a conference call with us during the last couple of hours. They, together with the players in the room whom you've seen on television in the last few minutes, these are the people who worked very hard today and in the course of the days before this to put together this particular proposal. It's involved several aspects. The old question of quota, we dealt with some details there on various species and what the government might be able to do and what Mr. Barry might be able to put through the plant. We've talked about other possibilities, other initiatives that I've undertaken to do something about, as well as Mr. Barry and others whom I'll let speak for themselves. But here is Reg Yancey from the FFAW. We've been very pleased to have him with us today. He's been very closely involved with this issue, very committed to it from the beginning, and it's just a pleasure to work with him and Mr. Barry and others on this particular issue.
Excuse me. Thanks very much, Roger. You know, I will say to the people of Burgeo, and we have a lot of membership in the community of Burgeo, and for the union, Burgeo has always been a very special place to us. It's really where this organization got started. And quite aside from having membership in Burgeo, a lot of friends in Burgeo. So it's been #1 on my list for a very long time. I will say to the people that this has been a very good meeting. It has served, I believe, to focus the minds of everybody, the union, the company, the government, the minister's office. Roger's been extremely helpful in both in chairing this meeting and with some very good suggestions as we worked our way through it. So, you know, I think if we can carry on, and I believe we will, the spirit of cooperation and everybody in Burgeo, along with the people from the outside who want to help, headed in the same direction, I would hope the future will be very good. And so I'm extremely encouraged. We're going to do everything we can as a union, as an organization, to help the company succeed in its plans to reactivate the Burgeo plant. So I look forward to working with Bill, with Roger, and with the people in the community, and look forward to getting this thing behind us and to better times ahead.
Local fishing boats took to the waters in May for the first time in a long time as the inshore fishery opened in this area. There was something fishy at the bait depot wharf this past week, codfish to be exact. The inshore cod fishery in this area opened on Monday. There are 8 vessels from Burgeo participating in the cod fishery. The fishery is scheduled to be open for an 8-week period or until the quota is caught. Landings here in Burgeo are not bad. They're on average about the same as before the fishery closed in 1992.
Yes. Okay. I don't know what that bag is. Looks good though. Bag looks good. Next hook or something? Okay, let's
Stay tuned. We'll be right back following this message.
This is Megan of the War Amps Child Amputee Program. She lost her arm in a car accident. How would you feel if you had been the driver who hit her?
let's all drive safe.
A message from the War Amps Drive Safe program.
Be sure and join us again next Sunday for 1997, the Year in Review, Part 2. Next week's program will be followed by Women Jammin' Part 2 from this summer's festivities. Please stay tuned now for a rebroadcast of the Christmas Bandwagon. From all of us here at Burgeo Broadcasting System, have a Happy New Year. See you next year. Good night.